This is Rock and Roll in Excess. Drummers in danger. First up, Travis Barker versus a Learjet. Travis Barker is one of the most highly regarded drummers in rock. His band, Blink-182, have sold over 50 million records worldwide since their first release in 1995. However, in 2008, a near tragedy almost ended his life. In September of that year, Barker was in a Learjet 60 taking off from Columbia, South Carolina. Aboard the plane were Barker, his friend Adam DJ A.M. Goldstein, and several other passengers. The plane was departing from Columbia Metropolitan Airport when it overran the runway during takeoff, crashed through a fence, and caught fire. 4 people were killed, including the 2 pilots and Barker's assistant Chris Baker and bodyguard Charles Che Still. Barker and DJ Adam Goldstein survived the crash but sustained serious injuries, including burns. Barker later told an interviewer he had a bad feeling from the start. "Everything felt wrong," he said. "I called my pops from outside the plane like, 'This plane is really small. I have a horrible feeling. If anything happens, make sure my kids are okay.'" An investigation into the crash attributed the accident to the tires bursting and the pilot then deciding to abort the flight at high speed, which is not recommended procedure. Barker told Larry King, "The landing gear popped. It sounded like gunshots. It sounded like someone was shooting a gun next to my head. Then the plane just spiraled out of control. The plane would basically go up in the air, then crash down and hit the ground and come up. Every time we hit the ground, the flames and smoke would get bigger, and before the last impact, the plane was completely on fire. We were a ball of fire in the sky, and I was honestly waiting for lights out." Barker suffered third-degree burns on 65% of his body and underwent 26 surgeries. Following a 3-month stay at the hospital, he had to learn to walk again. In regards to his burns, Barker clarified what happened. "When I jumped through the emergency exit when the plane blew up, I was in such a hurry to exit the plane I jumped right into the jet, which is full of fuel. My whole body lit up. I had jet fuel in my whole body," he added. "When I jumped into the jets, I started running. I was ripping off my clothes because that's what my instincts told me to do, but little did I know I was still on fire because I was soaked in jet fuel." The 27 surgeries and skin grafts took place over his 11th week stay in the hospital. He almost had his right foot amputated as well. In the following months and years, Barker also suffered PTSD as a result of the crash. The deaths of Chris Baker and Chase Still contributed to the disorder, as did the subsequent death of DJ Adam Goldstein in August of 2009, who suffered a drug overdose. Blink-182 had gone on hiatus in 2005, but reunited in 2009 to record and go on tour. Barker himself waited almost 13 years before flying again. Blink-182 continues to tour, and Barker married girlfriend Courtney Kardashian in May of 2022. Next up, Rick Allen versus a Stingray. Rick Allen was the drummer for Def Leppard, one of the more successful metal bands of the 1980s. The band has sold over 100 million records worldwide. However, it was a near tragedy in December of 1984 involving Allen that could have ended the band's existence. The drummer was driving his Corvette Stingray on the A57 road in Sheffield, England, when he lost control of the car and crashed into a stone wall. Rick's fiancée, 22-year-old Miriam Berenstain, suffered head injuries and had to be cut free from the wreckage. Allen himself was thrown through the sunroof of his car, and his left arm got caught in the seatbelt when it came undone during the crash. As a result, the arm was severed from his body. Initially, doctors reattached the arm during a 4-hour operation, but infection took hold and they would eventually have to amputate in January of 1985. Allen was discharged from hospital after 6 weeks. After the accident, Rick Allen was determined to continue playing drums despite his physical limitations. The band thought briefly about disbanding but wanted to continue, though they did not want to abandon their drummer. Engineers and designers worked closely with Allen to create a customized electronic drum kit that allowed him to control various drum sounds with his feet and right hand. This innovative setup enabled him to play more dynamically and convincingly despite the loss of his left hand. Allen used 4 electronic pedals for his left foot to play the pieces he used to play with his left arm, which from left to right triggered sounds of a closing hi-hat, bass drum, snare drum, and tom. In August of 1986, Rick Allen returned to the stage with Def Leppard. The band would go on to achieve even more commercial success in the years following the accident, including the release of the album Hysteria in 1987. That LP would go on to sell over 25 million copies. In 2019, they would be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In May of 2023, Allen was attacked outside a Florida hotel room after a concert. He suffered a head injury and police arrested a 19-year-old for the assault. Through it all, Allen's enthusiasm for playing has never diminished. "I know that I'm not going to be playing music in a band forever," Allen said afterward, "but while I am, I plan on making as many people happy as I possibly can. And this is my time. This is my opportunity." If you like this video, subscribe, share, and we'll keep doing more.